Welcome, friends. Good to have you with us. It's a snowy day in here in Boston, right, Lou?
Yes, it is. Very well, not too bad. We've got out pretty good this winter, I think.
But for those of you who are in India, or we have Mary in Australia, keeps telling me that the temperature there is a nice balmy 70 or 80 degrees. So for you, if you look out the window right now behind me, you can see how heavily it's snowing.
Yeah, it's pretty though, and it's not 5 degrees, so we're all good. We'll get
Yeah,
through
yeah, it's
this.
very pretty. I love it. It's very nice. Yesterday, I had 5 deer in my backyard.
Oh my God, how beautiful! Yeah.
It was so gorgeous. So, we are going to continue with the 35 qualities of a self realized person. And this is part four because we talked about so many of them already. Today, we're going to be doing uh, verses 26, 27, and 28. And there's 35 altogether. So this quality is, which is the quality number 26, says renouncer of good and evil. What that means is any action that we take has either good outcome or not such a good outcome, which in the Gita they're calling it an evil outcome. But that's the translation between Sanskrit and English. Doesn't mean evil in the sense that you might think it means,
Right.
but not the outcome that you would want. So, a good outcome or a not so good outcome. Whatever action you take in life, right, has some outcome. That's why you do it. In the morning, you wake up, you rub your eyes. That's an action. There's an outcome. The outcome is you're trying to do something that is bothering your eyes, wake yourself up, or clean away the cobwebs, or however, whatever it is that you're doing, then there's an outcome. Every action. You cannot go a second in life without acting or doing something, not even a second. You're always doing something, breathing, sleeping, whatever it is that you're doing. And every action has a result, and that's why we do the action. It has a good result or a bad result as far as you are concerned. So, up to now, all the qualities that we saw had to do with outcomes that were internally based. So, you rejoiced, you were happy, things happened, you rejoiced, or you felt grief or sadness or hatred towards somebody. That's what we talked about so far. What we're talking about today is external outcomes, which are good outcomes to your action or bad outcomes to your action. Now, we're all affected by these outcomes, by these good outcomes or bad outcomes. We either get thrilled because of something that happened or we're dejected. But what this quality is saying is that a self realized person does not get affected, whether things go his way or things don't go his way. And why is that? Why are we affected by that? Remember this phrase: we are dependent on external outcomes for our internal happiness. We are dependent on external outcomes for our internal happiness. So, whatever happens outside, we are either happy or sad. Those outcomes cause us to either feel good or feel bad. Whereas a self realized person is happy all the time because he has no desires. He has no desires, so he has nothing that he feels I want. If I get, I'll be happy. If I don't get, I'll be unhappy. So he's happy all the time. So there's no good outcome for him or bad outcome because to him everything is the same. He does what he needs to do, what he ought to do in life. And once he does that, he does the action for the sake of the action. He's not concerned about the outcome. And you will see this in the war in which Krishna is teaching Arjuna what to do. He's saying, just do what you ought to do. You're a warrior, you've been trained as a warrior, your duty is to protect the kingdom. You go and you fight. Whatever happens, happens. Don't worry about that. And that's how we should all lead our lives. Next quality. Quality number 28. Alike to friend and foe, and also alike to honor and dishonor, heat to and cold, alike to heat and cold, and also to joy and sorrow. So All of this refers basically to our body, our mind, and our intellect. So our body, somebody says good things to us, we feel honored. Wow, look at your body. You look so nice. Look at you. You've gained a lot of weight, haven't you? Look at your paunch sticking out. You feel bad. So honor and dishonor also goes in terms of your intellect. Somebody insulted me. I'm dishonored. So a self-realized person feels the same towards all beings and all situations. There's no such thing to him as you made me feel bad, you made me feel good, because he is self-sufficient for his internal happiness. He is not dependent on external events or external outcomes for his internal happiness. He is self-sufficient for his internal happiness. Whereas the rest of us, we're fully dependent on those external outcomes and people for our happiness. Somebody fulfills our desires. We say, oh, I'm so happy. And I like this person because he fulfilled my desires. Somebody else who tells us the truth, you've gained weight. Yes, COVID, you're sitting at home, eating all the time. Yeah, you've put on a few pounds. I can see it above your belt. You don't like that person because he's being truthful to you.
Right.
Somebody who does not meet your needs, doesn't fulfill your desires, doesn't do what you want him to do, you dislike such a person. Whereas a self-realized person is self-sufficient. He doesn't need anybody else in order for him to feel good. Self-realized person also recognizes, excuse me, self-realized person recognizes that Atman exists in every being. So he sees in another person, whether that person is good to him or bad to him, he says, this is my friend, I love everybody, because he recognizes the Atman in everybody. He does not think anybody is good, bad, friend, foe, whatever. And he only focuses on the divinity. So he honors every person who says good things or bad things about him. He doesn't even care what somebody thinks about him because he knows what he is. He's the Atman. Somebody says you're a fool, you're too passive, you're not doing anything. He just lets it ride off of him. Same thing with heat, cold, joy, and sorrow. These are all qualities: heat, cold of the physical body, joy, sorrow of the mind, honor, dishonor of the intellect. So he's really covering the whole gamut.
Right.
The self-realized person, a bhakta, has no attachments. His only attachment is to the Atman or Brahman. He has no attachment to any friend, family member. Everybody's alike to him, whether it's his child or somebody else's child. It's all equanimous. He's self-sufficient for his internal happiness. He doesn't need a child to say, Daddy, Daddy, I love you. You're so good. You're the best. Whoever fulfills his desire, fine. He has no desire. So there's no such question about somebody fulfilling his desire. So he is alike to friend and foe, heat and cold, joy and sorrow, all of that. Next quality, number 28, is free from attachment. He's not attached to anything. Those of us, as we grow older, we find, like an example is of a child that Gautam Jain told us many times this example. When you're a child, you have these little dinky toys, toy cars made by dinky toys that you care so much about. You have a collection of toys that your parents brought you. You love those toys. You say, I will never stop loving them. Yet, as you get older, you find something else that you get attached to, a bicycle. You love your bicycle. All of a sudden, the dinky cars find themselves in a closet. You think less and less of them. You get into an adolescent. You start to look at girls. You get to be older. You start looking at a job, a car, then a family. All of the things that you were attached to before become less and less important to you, right? So your attachment to the higher makes the lower drop off. People think about Vedanta and about the Gita and about spirituality that they're going to tell you, give up this, give up that. Nothing like that. You don't have to give up anything. You just take up something higher and the lower automatically falls off, just like the cars just fall off. So here, free from attachment means that you're not attached to people. A self-realized person is not attached to people. He's not dependent on the world or other people for his happiness. He's not dependent, therefore he's not attached. We each have these qualities within us, as I've said many times. We just have to learn to bring them out. We have to force them out of ourselves, because that becomes our personality. Sorry about this. So, a self-realized person is attached to the supreme self. That's the only, Brahman is the only thing that he's attached to. So he becomes entirely free from all attachments. So those are the three qualities that we're going to do today. I'm going to try and make these sessions a little shorter, because people have said they listen to this in the car as they're driving. Yeah. And so 20 minutes or less is probably a good sign. If you feel that your drive is longer, you can just go on to the next episode.
Can I just talk about what I think the key takeaway might be from here? Because this comes up in all modalities when you start talking about happiness and mental health and things like that. Is the key thing came up in this, not dependent on external outcomes. It's about internal happiness and getting yourself, detaching yourself and not being swayed by external outcomes and being pulled by desires too. That's such a key to being happy. And if you can, the Gita is helping us find it through our attachment to Brahman.
Yes, and you're so correct. And it comes with knowledge. That's all you have to do. That's the beauty. All you have to do is to just study the Gita and the Vedanta. And if you read it and understand it and keep listening over and over again, these things just become second nature to you. You don't think about the outcome, or at least if you're going to think about it, you're going to be thinking less about it. And after a while, you'll be able to do your duty without saying, what am I getting out of this? You do it because you ought to do it, and for no other reason, as Lou was saying.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, friends, and we will see you in our next episode.